Okay, we should be working here. So I wanted to do a little YouTube live stream covering how to use Git, GitHub, and RStudio together. My project is to go through the 8 challenges in ggplot2, the new features that have been added. Hadley gave a presentation on this in November, and in his presentation, he covers the new features and then he puts in some of the actual code that you can run to test them. And that's what I'm doing. I'm building that code and I finished this one, labeling, and he put secondary axes in there. And I just finished the part on building secondary axes. So this is what he wrote, and this will be the plot that it produces. And so this is not an introduction or beginner's guide to setting up Git or GitHub or configuring your R IDE with either of the two. I assume you've already done that, and there's all kinds of tutorials on that. This is once you actually have a project going, whether your own personal Git on a local instance, if you're doing contributions and things, what do you need to do? So we'll assume that you've already got set up the username, email, editors, certificates, and you'll notice in my local directory here, it already says master. The reason for that is because I already have, oops, it is a hidden file. I already have a .git directory. And so this is the Git bash that I am working in. It comes with Git installation. Just to show you a difference, this is the Windows 10 Ubuntu development shell. And this is the same directory, and it does not say master, even though the same thing is present. So the Git bash actually has a couple of differences to it. And in this mini GNU instance that they set up, and I don't know how it's configured, don't ask me that, but this is, there are some pretty nice things that it does when working with Git. So what I've done is I went ahead and updated, well, actually, let me show you my GitHub. So I've cleaned it up. I have a couple things that I'm ignoring. I did a little git rm on a couple of files that R produces that aren't totally necessary to have in the project. Basically, what I want in my GitHub are essential things that matter to the project. So the readme.markdown file, which is what you're actually viewing here. The readme markdown will be automatically interpreted by GitHub. So it's quite nice. It will not do the same for HTML files. It doesn't interpret HTML. So if you write in a README markdown, it will actually be displayed here as markdown, well, over the web with markdown. So the same thing with essentials on my R project file, which contains the programming script, the index markdown, and the README markdown. Okay, so those are my 3 core files. So I have the project file, that's the whole R package. I have my script that actually has the plot code. I have my index page, or sorry, I have my README page, which you've already seen. And then I have an index markdown page, which I'll show. It actually delivers this little feature here, which is a quick way to view what I've actually done. So I'm adding that in as well. All right, so what I have done already is put the edits in place, and you'll notice once you do have RStudio set up, there's a Git tab, but nothing is showing up. I have not yet saved these files. Even though I've edited them, Git, again, is looking for differences between files. So until I go ahead and lock those differences in, let me go ahead and save these 3 files. It has now detected that they are modified. Now I don't want to use the GUI here through RStudio. I'm working on learning the command line, so that's what I'm going to use to actually work with Git. So if I run git status, Get status tells me that now, actually, I would first do a pull, but everything's already up to date. So get status tells me what I modified. Okay, they are not yet staged. Now, staging in RStudio, you can see they're not checked for staging. Well, we don't have that here. So we can stage these either using get stage, and if you actually look at get stage and what the help is on get stage, it is actually a synonym for get add. So get add is actually the command you'd want to use here. You could use that if you want, but we need to add them to the staging table. So if we do get add, I would have to type each of the individual files to add them to the staging table. But if I do -A, it goes ahead and adds those modified files. So now if I look at my status, get status, they're staged now and ready to be committed. If we look back at R, it'll update here in a second. And now it's checked all of those, even though I didn't do that. So it's recognized that those files are now staged. What I want to do is go ahead and commit those files. So if I actually do first, if I do a get diff, is that, yeah, should work. Oh, so I guess I can only look at the differences before I stage them, but that would actually have shown me something which I'm going to do during the commit, which if I would just do a regular git commit, there's no difference code. I would just put a comment up at the top. But if I do a git commit -v, too many M's. Git commit -v. So this is the actual Git code tracking what the changes were to each of the files. So this one's to the README Markdown up at the top. It's showing what I've added here, which I put some new spacing in, and I put in the second challenge. Right now, if you look at the Markdown, there's only challenge 1. And so I'm adding challenge 2, and then I actually put that into adding that into the actual R code base. So, the R script. So I want to go ahead and at the very top, go ahead and leave a comment. So I'll put adding challenge 2 into, it'd be nice to label everything. 8 challenges, R script. What else did I have in there? Index. So it's already showing me that it's not going to display this. You'll notice it's graying that out, and I'll kind of explain that here in a second. Actually, let me start a new line. Actually, adding challenge 2. R script, let's just put that. Let's put index.rmarkdown and readme.markdown. Okay. So I went ahead and did the commit on that. So if I do get status, it's ready to go through and be pushed. If I look at the log, if I look at git log, this will show me the commit statements that I wrote. And you can see here, it came out just like I wrote it in the file. So it adds that into the log, even though on GitHub, it's just going to say adding challenge 2 at the top. And I haven't gone through the interface enough to figure out how to look at the rest of it. But the log will contain everything that you put into the top of that file. So I was ready for a push, so I go ahead and execute get push. Oh, sorry, you're not seeing the thing here. Anyway, sorry, I didn't have the right screen up, and I'm still learning this program. But yeah, here's the log. So looking at the log, there's the R script, the index, and the README. So that's how it'll show up. Now, back here, so I did the push over to my GitHub account. So if I refresh that and into my local Git as well. So it was just updated the files, and you'll see now challenge. Sorry, let me minimize this thing. So challenge 2 is here. If I look at the actual script, I now have challenge 2 and the secondary axes and things put in there, and it just says at the top, adding challenge 2. You actually click that and see. Okay, so adding challenge 2, and then it shows me more of what I've done there. So that's good. Now, okay, I actually forgot to do something, so it'll be nice to run through this again. The R, even though, okay, let me explain this a little bit. So there's one file I didn't touch, index.html. Okay, you notice it was not touched with the rest of the changes. And the reason for that is, in R, it's a background file that I'm not directly working with, but when I'm adjusting the R markdown file, I can use knitr to actually generate an HTML file. That generates the index.html file. Okay, so what's it halting on here? Duplicate label in miles per gallon. So that's the name of the, let's see if I don't think I need that actually. Probably need a comma there, but let me see. You don't see this because I didn't put it in. If I add this as a layer, now you will see it. Yeah. So in the background, this is the index.html file with basically I'm just trying to shortcut on what the changes are, like the ability to label plots. There's a title, subtitle, and caption. Went ahead and put those in. There's the title, subtitle, caption, and then some points there. So let me go ahead and close that. And actually, I'm going to make that edit here as well, which is title, subtitle, caption. Save that. And I need to knit that one more time. So that way my changes aren't just saved. You see it's coming up here in R, it's seeing Git is detecting what's being modified. So we have 2 more modified files, and we know how to check that. Git status. Git status tells us there are now 2 files that it's detected changes in 2 files, detected those modifications. So I want to add them into staging. Let's see if comma actually works. Index.rmd. Let's see. Nope. Anyway. We'll look at how to do more than one file at a time. But I just did them without the -all flag. So now they're staged. And what do we do after staging? We commit. So we want to do a git commit. I'm not going to do anything fancy here because this isn't that big of a change. So I don't want to just log what the actual differences were between the file. So I just put cleaning up our index.r markdown and index.html. Easy enough. Stages or everything will now be committed, and we're ready to do a push. So we want to lock those changes in. And so go ahead and refresh this, and we will see, yes, 1 minute ago, my R markdown and my index page have changed. Main thing is to want to view those quick results here. And here you see the changes. I went ahead and put in the new labels for how plots are labels: title, subtitle, and caption. And you can see where those are: the title, the subtitle, and the caption. And then being able to put in a secondary axis. The function is sec.axes or axis, and there you go. So those are the first two. And I'm going to keep going through the rest of the 8 challenges and learning Git as I go. You know, it's fun to have a project, and I've made several mistakes. Oh, I should show you too. This has been the guide that I've been going through, git-scm.com. There's a great guide, and this is what I've been taking notes off of and learning from. And yeah, I want to definitely start using Git a lot more to handle version control on my own projects. So I hope this was helpful and fun. It's fun for me. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.